Quitting a job to go all in on your e-commerce business is the fastest way to kill your momentum, burn your savings, all before you've made a single dollar. I've helped hundreds of founders grow successful e-commerce brands to over 8 figures in brutally competitive markets, and 90% of them started part-time. Not one of them quit their job from day one, not one. And that's the secret of their success. In this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly why keeping your job might be the smartest business move you can make, and the 3-month rule that I use with every client before they even think about going full-time. It starts the same way every single time. You launch your store, the adrenaline kicks in, and for a minute, it feels like you're onto something massive, right? It feels real. Now you're building a real brand. But then the real work kind of begins, and everything seems to almost stall for a minute, right? Suddenly, it's not just the store. It's the emails, it's the shipping policies, the product descriptions, it's the pixel. It won't really install correctly. And then there's the apps that you didn't know that you needed. There's the landing page changes that you have no idea how to do. And at that point, most people get overwhelmed. They start thinking the same thing. If I could just quit my job and go all in on this, maybe I'd be better off. And to be honest, it sounds logical on the surface because time equals progress, right? But that all in moment, it's not strategy. It's kind of like, it's almost like desperation disguised as confidence, okay? It feels like a power move, right? You feel like you're announcing it on LinkedIn, telling your friends, look, I finally took the leap. I burnt the boats, right? But 5 days later, you're sitting at home, staring at a silent Shopify dashboard, wondering what the hell you just did. And that bold step kind of becomes a trap. It removes the one thing that keeps you grounded, which is your income, your oxygen, your ability to see into the future. And the second you cut your safety net, you add this pressure, right? You trade this stability for survival. And now every single day almost feels like a countdown. You're no longer building something because you believe in it or you're passionate about it. Now you're building it because you have to, and if you don't, you're going to die. And so that shift, it actually slows you down because panic really kills productivity, and scarcity clouds good quality decision making. When you're operating from a place of survival, you certainly can't think long term. You're stuck there thinking about how the hell you're going to pay rent. And that's where things really start to break down. You see, the biggest illusion is the success you see on social media. Every time you open your TikTok, there's some 19, 18, 22-year-old telling you to quit your job because they made $100,000 just last month. And it sounds convincing until you actually try to do what they did. And so what no one tells you is that those wins, so to speak, are really rare, and they're not even the full story. You never hear how they blew half of the revenue on bad ads, or how the supplier ghosted them, potentially mid-scale, causing all of their shipping to be halted. That's highlight reel entrepreneurship. And trying to copy that is like trying to watch an Olympic sprinter and thinking you're ready to run the 100-meter race because you bought some new shoes. Because honestly, building a brand is not the same as launching a store. Anyone can go and open a Shopify account, find a supplier, throw some product online. That's entry-level stuff. But after that, how will you actually make money? That is a whole different game. Making money means dealing with problems that no one wants to post about online. It's the fulfillment delays that kill your customer experience. It's waking up to chargebacks on your PayPal account or refund requests in your inbox. It's customers DMing you 3 times in one day asking where their order is, and you realize that it hasn't actually been shipped. It's dealing with margin compression, maybe your cost per acquisition increasing, platform updates, all the boring real stuff. That's what real business is actually made of. And if you haven't built those skills yet, you're not ready to go and quit your job. And so don't set yourself up to drown in your problems that you're actually not ready to solve. Because the first time you get 3 returns in a single day or $1,000 of refunds in a single day, and your Facebook ads, ROAS tanks, it'll hit differently when there's no paycheck to rely on. And even if you think you did have more time, that still doesn't mean you're going to grow faster. Because in the beginning, most of your time won't be spent on building. It's going to be almost spent on waiting for your ads to optimize, waiting for your suppliers to respond, waiting for that one piece of content to go viral. You're going to spend 5 hours editing one TikTok video, post it, get 17 views. That's what extra time often looks like. And when things do start moving, they rarely move in a straight line. One week, you might make some sales. The next week, you might make nothing at all. It's chaos to begin with. And when you've got no income coming in and you're staring at the screen for 10 hours a day, thinking to yourself, what am I doing? It's kind of torture, because time isn't the multiplier that you think it is. The strategy is. You should know how to position your product, who you're serving, and why they should actually care. So think about it like this. If your product solves a problem that no one is desperately urgent towards fixing, no amount of hustle hours will save your product, because that product market fit beats productivity every single time. You can't hustle away a bad offer, or you can't outwork a really weak niche. No amount of extra hours will fix a broken message or a mismatched audience. What actually happens when you quit your job too early, you think that the pressure will make you perform, but pressure without proof only makes you more desperate. And so suddenly, every hour you work, it almost feels like heavier. Every decision becomes like this question of survival. As an example, you start pushing buy now buttons harder in Canva, thinking that it's going to increase your conversion. That's how off track this logic gets. And I see this all the time in our communities where founders come through, they quit their jobs too early, and what happens is when things get hard, they see every opportunity around them as a shiny object that's going to take them away from pain. And ultimately what happens is they compound their confusion by trying a whole bunch of things out of desperation that puts them in a situation where they don't know what's working, they have no idea what the strategy is, they have no idea what to do next, and they feel like quitting. And so after that, you're constantly thinking about sales, right? Because you're constantly stressed. And then you lower your prices. You put some massive discount on your store just to get someone to buy. You rush a product to market before it's ready. You spend money on ads without a plan, just hoping that something works. It's because panic doesn't leave room for patience. And once you're in this panic mode, you stop thinking clearly. It's this spiral. The pressure builds, your decisions get worse, and eventually the business that you dreamed of becomes this job almost that you feel like you hate, that doesn't even pay you $1. Right? And so now people think a 9 to 5 is what's holding them back. But for most early founders, the job is the one thing that's kind of keeping you sane. So don't think of your job as if it's the enemy, because it's basically the oxygen tank, right? It kind of lets you breathe while you're learning to swim. Because when you've still got income coming in, you make so much better decisions, right? You don't have to force things, and you can take your time building right offers, right? Writing good quality content, testing good quality ads that don't do or die need to work overnight. And you're free to reinvest profits without wondering how you're going to put food on the table, or are you going to need to take the light bulb out of the fridge, okay? You can afford to kill a product and then start again, instead of having to force a bad product to work just to survive another week. You'll be shocked at how much better your business becomes when you're not terrified all the time. You kind of take smarter risks. You focus on what actually grows the brand, not just what plugs holes in the immediate, because stability gives you much better perspective, and perspective ultimately gives you a whole bunch of power and control. You don't need to go broke just to prove you're serious or committed. You need to stay in the game long enough to actually get good. And none of that happens if you're panicking to pay rent at the end of every week. And look, in the early stages, you don't need 10 hours a day to build a business. That's the excuse that people use when they're scared to start. I don't have time, right? The truth is, if you're serious, you'll find the time, you'll make the time, or you'll carve out the time. 3 hours in the morning, maybe 3 hours at night, That's like 30 focused hours a week. More than enough to get traction, build proof, test offers, and start learning how this game actually works. It's how one client of mine built a $25,000 per month business while working a complete day shift, highly stressful day shift, right? Because she never wasted her limited time tweaking dumb things on the website for the 15th time. And if your current job is draining the life out of you, don't quit. Just downgrade. See if you can pick up some freelance work on the side. Go part-time. See if you can negotiate your hours. Do something that gives you space without losing that kind of stability baseline. That way you're building your business under pressure, but not under panic, all while paying your bills, making smart decisions in your business, right? And this is how you experiment and learn without setting your entire life on fire. Because if you can't run a business when you're busy, then you're not ready to run one when you're not. So when should I actually quit? Might be the question in your mind. Should I stay in my job forever? No, but here's my rule that I give all of my clients, and I recommend that you should follow it too. Don't quit until your business income matches or beats your career income or your job income for 3 consecutive months. Not just 1 month or one viral product or one piece of content, 3 consecutive months of controlled, predictable income with systems behind it, right? That's when you know that it's real. That's when you know that it wasn't hype. And so at that point, quitting your job stops being an emotional decision and it becomes a much more rational and logical one. That's how you do this without blowing your entire life up. So if you've been thinking about potentially quitting your job just to go all in, I hope this made you maybe pause. This isn't about working harder, it's about thinking clearer, keeping your head on when everybody else around you is spiraling, making smart decisions even when it's boring, and not just the bold ones when it's loud. If that landed for you, then fantastic. Because in this world, we don't win by burning the boats. We win by building real leverage, knowing when to walk away from the dock. I'll be dropping more videos soon on how you can grow without panic, scale with intention, build offers that actually stick. So stick around if you're serious about building something that really lasts in today's current marketplace and not something that just looks cool on TikTok for a minute and is gone the next day. I'll see you in the next video.